All right, and kicking off the series, even if the first couple of rounds were a little odd, in the end, All Knights are able to come back in a strong form, closing out the first map of this series. I mean, Jen, when we were looking at this series, looking at the players, we knew this was going to be an explosive one, and we definitely got to see some clutch moments coming out from both the squads.
It was an absolute bloodbath. Like, I needed a PC check, I swear, on some of these Adverso players, these All Knights players, but especially Adverso. We already highlighted his intelligence in the game, and the way he's able to predict where people are past smokes had me sus. If he was in my ranked games, insta report. That's just how good this guy is. All Knights, I thought their defense was barely holding up at the beginning. They were kind of getting ran over, and then they had a timeout, and something clicked with All Knights. And they were just able to climb back on the defense, make it close, and just became less reliant on Dante, which we had highlighted in the series was going to be a big star for them. But it became more of a united effort for All Knights.
Especially, too, when we were looking at Dante. I think GLRS did a really good job in kind of suppressing and just stopping him from the get-go. It makes sense, considering the last time these two teams met up on Haven, Dante was a huge pain point for them. Dante has been a huge pain point for a lot of these teams that they've gone up against. But AK, they definitely have more than one tool in their offenses, and being able to see the others kind of step up, and Adverso being one of those people that you're talking about, someone that you would report because he was just popping off and doing so good. And even just across the board, I mean, Sabano had like a wonderful 3K at one point, and Shop had these crazy shots, and it was all in all, Gompers, it just became a little too much for GLRS to handle, even when Sato was having a great performance.
It was, honestly, GLRS, you would assume that they would have been able to run away from it. Sato was like the GOAT when it came down to GLRS and the way that they were playing, but AK, it wasn't even that. It was that GLRS, they were using their weakness against them, actually constantly getting punished on the defense of plays that they tried to execute on their own, going up towards sewer, trying to find an early execution there. But then at the same time, on the defense, my apologies, AK, they knew, they tried to contest some of that space that was unoccupied, and then they just kept going in directions where they knew GLRS wasn't contesting, right? Slow movements down towards garage, very, very quiet movements up towards A, and then they got all this space that was not supposed to be given over to them. I think GLRS lacking just a little bit there on the defensive side. Definitely could have used more players just to watch the space. They had sentinels to honestly preoccupy space where they could look in another and give free information, and I feel like sometimes they weren't using it in that sense.
It was tough too when we're looking at the side of GLRS, because when we highlight Sato and just having a really great game overall, I mean, if everyone's coming at him, there's a couple times Sato was running for the hills. I remember the one up in hand, and everyone from AK is going for him. It was really, really tough. So even when the duelists stood up, the rest of the team maybe not necessarily there. And I want to highlight both of the duelists and kind of the capacity that they were in during that, because that's a fun little contrast in comparison to Dante, who still was able to put up a performance for the team, but when everyone was kind of had it out for him, they had a lot of respect for him here, Jen. He wasn't necessarily able to have the same, okay, I'm going to put up these kills performance, but was still able to make impact elsewhere with the kill, with the space, and everyone else was able to then frag off of that.
And the casters pointed this out, that this wasn't just the Dante squad, and it was actually Dante almost bottom fragging. It became a lot about the collection of information around Adverso and his calling around that, and how they push those spaces, as Gompers pointed out. Sato's back must hurt, because geez, I swear he carried his team. He got 24 kills and the next person has 14, and yeah, it's not always about kills, but man, he got so many first kills, was doing everything he can to really make the plays for GLRS, and it just simply wasn't enough. They eventually got found out, and All Knights had him.
I mean, even when we're looking at this, we're talking about the fact that GLRS is kind of suppressing Dante a little bit, but you kind of look at the stats and it's like, okay, but where? I mean, the presence that he still had here was humongous. And looking ahead at the next map in the series, where we are headed to Bind, and where we'll get to see both of these duelists who are on different agents for that one be able to join together under the Braze banner. I think that should be a lot of fun to really be able to highlight that head-to-head going on to this. Now, All Knights up one in the series, and looking at their bind, this is definitely something that has been strong for them. So I don't know, it's going to be a little bit tricky here, Gompers, for GLRS. We see that they have the firepower. We got to see, but can they bring back that mental to bounce back and try and take us to Abyss?
I think possibility is there. They really, on a map like Bind 2, the main objective really is just to not give up any space. You need to be attentive. You need to be aware of your surroundings. You give up any sights, any signs of sight, you have to play for that instant retake. And I think that's the issue here. They need to fix the issues they faced before. GLRS, they were letting them contest all of this space. They were allowing them to take these quiet moves, move up towards Garage, and it just flourished from there. So in my opinion, fix that. They fixed that. They have it. They were better with the aim. They had Sato there. Sato was the main key to this, and they let him flourish. And I think that's great. They know what to do and what players to really allow to kind of go up, go kill, do their job. But at the same time, that's not going to be enough.
And All Knights take Haven the same way they did against GLRS last time. This is now back-to-back wins, but we go to a different map now. It's GLRS map pick of Bind. And we talked a little bit about that Fade playstyle that they really like. And this was their second best map after Icebox that got early banned out. But now we look towards All Knights' composition and what are they going to run? Because the last time they even went to this map, they played some Deadlock. And it was the first time sporting that against 2G. And we had some Fade on the other time. So I wonder what look we're going to see out of All Knights.
I'm hoping a similar one to what we got to see then, in all honesty, considering that they were able to take a win against someone so strong. And even just Deadlock, we've seen a lot more Deadlock kind of popping up. We've gotten to see it quite a bit in Challengers, and being able to see it here, especially in the hands of Averso, I think is absolutely fantastic. It's not going to be necessarily a surprise anymore, and we know that the teams have had a little bit of time to get that homework done. So GLRS, if they are picking this here, Gompers, I feel like they have to have some sort of answer or anything else to it. It's whether they'll be able to back that up with shooting too, considering that Averso is quite deadly, considering that performance we just saw on Haven.
They got it. In my opinion, they have it. They let go. You know, confidence was starting to brim a little bit. Like, they 100% can cook something up. And for GLRS, they've almost beat what was it, M80, right? They've almost beat multiple teams. Like, this isn't a bad team at all. In fact, probably again the two top contenders in their regions here, by the way. So this is not over just yet. And I think GLRS, they 100% have it this map. They just need a reset, and it seems like they're already there, right? The past is in the past. They don't even look fazed by it.
Yeah, All Knights are going through some big changes when it comes to their approach on Bind, and I think they found the secret sauce, if you will, because they were losing kind of back-to-back, running some Fade, Gecko, more similar to what, I'm speaking of All Knights right now, yeah. And if they go back, once they went to the Deadlock in the Sky, they looked a lot stronger. The fact that they won against 2G is a huge statement. I think All Knights maybe are going to have as much experience on this composition, considering this is a very much recent change, and this is GLRS' map pick. I could easily see us go to map 3 just based on the absolute bloodbath war that we had on map 1. Both these teams are very mechanically matched. I think it'll be a compositional difference in really how GLRS is going to try and approach the Deadlock if All Knights decide to bring that out again.
See, I'm just straight up looking at the duelists and being able to see this duel. I feel like with being quite a bit of a smaller map, that when we can see the raise carries, if Sato's popping off again, that could be difficult. But heading into our Blacklight Agent Select, we'll get the confirmation for reals if the Deadlock is going to be making a reappearance on the side of All Night here. And yep, Averso here, Gompers, yet again, going to be picking that up.
This is good. And for Averso, they were insane on the Deadlock. This is territorial at this point. For GLRS, yes, okay, they have great compositions, they can work with this, but it's going to be so difficult to get past, you know, the walls coming through on the defense, especially starting off with the defense. I feel like they're just wrapping up the rounds at this point to start off, to really just push GLRS further and further back into this mental despair.
And what's funny is that AK only took 3 defensive rounds with a Deadlock, running a 2 Sentinel, and this is where you would think the defense is going to fortify off of these agents, but it's the offense, it's the fragging that's mattered by All Knights. That's what won them the map 1, and I think that's what's going to propel them in map 2.
I mean, when we're looking at GLRS, I mean, they definitely have this strength to be able to push that defense of All Knights. So that's something that I'm looking for. If All Knights already with this double Sensi wasn't getting the most rounds gen, I feel like that's something that GLRS can definitely test them on.
Yeah, if they can just stick to, okay, the firepower is on the offense, try not to hemorrhage on defense too much. It was a 9-3 half when AK went up against 2G, where they had the 3 rounds. A double sentinel defense, only pulling out 3 rounds is very worrisome, but obviously they've had more time to scrim this, hopefully, before playoffs began. The crowd is behind them. This is a very intense environment, and worst case scenario, there is a lower bracket to continue to try testing out the deadlock or avoid bind in general.
I mean, let's hopefully not have to talk about lower bracket, at least for a little bit longer for GLRS. They lose the first map, but now they're on their map of choice. Can they close it out on blind and take us to a third? Let's head back over to our caster Shift and Uber to find out.
Thank you very much. Yes, a lot on the line in this particular game. Of course, All Knights, a win here on Bind will advance them into our upper final against M80. And in the past, they've actually played Nico Machine on Raze on this map and had Dante sort of play a different role. But because they moved over to Deadlock, they've had Dante now on Raze, and last time against 2G looked really good. So feels like a better fit for AK in general.
Yeah.
And again, on the attack side is where that Deadlock is going to be its strongest, making those retakes almost impossible for the defenders.
They were impossible. The interesting thing about the defense, and Jen had kind of mentioned this a little bit, is that the Deadlock didn't find as much value, but that was because Silence was pushing them all over the map, and a lot of it came by way of winning out showers. You talked about that a ton, is that they were kept just allowing things to come through, and for a second I thought that was going to be enough for GLRS to get free entry to A. Not the case. Long flank is here already.
Pistol work there. But Sato's able to finish off Nico Machine and then deal with Hinchoff. Great job, GLRS. And a great recovery there as well. Yeah, again, like the Deadlock util, she is a sentinel. But on the defense side, her util kind of needs to be used as part of trap plays.
Yes.
It's not passive. Like, you have to deploy it when you want it to be effective, as opposed to putting, unless it's like a sonic sensor.
Sure.
But especially the grab net, like, you have to throw it. You have to play off of that. So it can force you into being a bit more aggressive on the D side. And yeah, unless you can funnel your opponent somehow through all your util that is static, it can be hard to find value.
Yeah, kind of reflecting back on that 2-game game in particular, that's not awkward to say, it came down to a point where Adversa was trying to stack all their utility inside the middle, whether it be in hookah or over towards A mid, and there was a lot of freedom given over to 2-game through showers. In particular, Silence was earning all of that, and it's going to be one of those things that I think All Knights are going to take and say, okay, we need to make sure we're at least putting some presence over towards showers. We can't let it happen for free. But it just also, again, it comes to a point of Silence was unstoppable. Are we going to see the same thing from Dante here? Are we going to see the same thing on the other side with Sato? Are these races going to take over, or will this match be determined by the deadlock?
Third kill for the show now. So far, very limited resistance being offered up by AK here. Adversa's position there in hookah, he was visible to Sato before he walked in. I think he probably didn't want to be so wide if they were trying to stack that part of the map. But all of a sudden, that plan went south pretty quickly. Nico was like hiding in the corner with the shorty. Now he has to try and find a way out of vents with that same weapon. More likely, they just stay here, play for exits, and die to the spike.
Yeah, that's likely going to be the case. Unless Sabando, well, down you go. Does he expect a second? No. Maybe he finds 2. There's an opportunity to flood from the front, but not going to happen. And you're absolutely right. This will be a back off for GLRS towards their spawn. Spike will be the ultimate being that takes care of the All Knights players in the front. And now we're going to start to see what are the adjustments for All Knights on this defense. Like, you're absolutely right. Adverso outside of the sentry turrets is just going to be placing things in reactionary form. And often he would get caught in the spot where it's like, I don't know if we did the barrier mesh, I'm just going to throw it. And then 2-game would wait for it to dissipate and then just run through it again. It's just, you have to have more than just the barrier mesh being tossed to control space in this map.
Yeah, maybe you can throw it midway through and execute, but you have to expose yourself to some degree.
Correct, yeah.
It might be done sometimes on like Lotus, like on the C side of Lotus. As people are coming in, you can sort of split them up, but you're playing against a Raze as well. So Sato obviously has the ability to circumvent that via the satchels if he wants to make a fast play. AK have guns in hand now. This is where it gets real. The Deadlock util going to be stacked with the Cypher util over the A site. Yeah. And so 3 players will be at B for the defenders.
And I like this in terms of an early idea. Sure, the Cyber Cage is just a mere inconvenience, but the spy cam being placed to watch through showers allows them to stack at halls like this around the barrier mesh, the other Cyber Trap, and potentially things like barrier mesh and things of the nature like that. So there's a lot of opportunity to help out Adverso to be a true sentinel because of how this utility is placed. And then flip side, that allows All Knights to also stack a little bit more heavily on this B site, which was a problem for them when they were playing against 2-game.
Okay, Sabano's still able to post up here. There is a double. Defenders. Oh, ugly. Only finds one. Luxo and Sato elsewhere, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, found more than enough to work with here. It's been a little bit dodgy for All Knights. And again, even against 2G, they only managed 3 defense-sided rounds, and it had to be a very one-sided offense side to win the match.
Yeah.
Do we have to see that run back a la Haven again from them here?
Yeah, it's the thing that's, I think, particularly difficult about this composition for All Knights is that they don't have the ability to proactively find information outside of what Nico wants to throw out, which you don't want to waste your flashes to find information from the defense. You want those for your retake. Where on the other side, having the Gecko, having the Fade allows for GLRS to find their info so much more often. And that's relating to All Knights now having to throw shoulders, look just for information off of contact rather than being able to use good utility. So it's one of those things like you don't want to play super restrictive and purely reactionary, but you kind of have to in a certain way if you're not winning these opening 1v1 contact battles.
They found my wire.
There's no reason why All Knights can't win those. But like you said, they have less ability to get information in contested zones. Sato here shows a little bit of leg and the barrel of the gun. That's enough. Tinch off to crumble. And so GLRS deal with that first buy round from AK. Pretty sequentially, pretty slowly. They move up, they clear util, they force it out, right? They take a trapwire first, they force the Bando's molly inside hookah, and then a simple double swings into those positions.
And you can see it. I mean, you could tally just off that minimap, where were the defending eliminations at? They were contact play in hookah, contact play at A mid, contact play over towards the outside of A showers. That's everything. There's no way for them to actually utilize information gathering tools because they don't have any. I mean, unless they start to get aggressive to where you bury your mesh early, you try to take away a spot like showers, and then you can start to spend things like a Trailblazer or a Guiding Light to sift out information through mid, whether that be at sewers or down A main. So lots of issues, but in this round, you don't expect there to be too much action. Prowler will scout at least one, if not both players out, and there's going to be an opportunity to try to isolate for GLRS.
That's so easy to clear these guys and stuff, though.
Oh, good grab.
Here comes the pinch. Oh, my goodness, it's messy. Nika Machines are going to have to flash them out. Orango, the only player to find a kill there, and that's a couple of guns recovered, surely. Tinch off with the Vandal, Savannah with one as well. And all of a sudden, GLRS have to head back to A. What a crunch through the TP.
Yeah, love it. And some of that is look at the deep trap wire at B long. Look at the sensor over towards A showers. It allows them a chance to stack up with their actual proactive members. I mean, it's a great idea. I think in particular, there was maybe a little bit too much finesse going on for GLRS, saying like maybe we'll get a peek for someone with a sheriff inside of hookah. But now all of a sudden, shoes on the other foot, 4v3. 2 weapons have been collected. Spycam will scout out that this is going to be a play at B, and here comes the rotation over.
30 seconds left.
All that work done. All Knights have a player advantage, but still have to play retake here. GLRS having not cleared any of this site. Luxo stepping up to do it now, putting a poison orb in the way. This is going to be frustrating for the defenders. They have no one crossed yet. They're going to come straight out of it. Luxo flash! And Nico takes him down with a sheriff. Only one left here. That's Irango. Having to try and hold out in the open, and so far, not so bad. That's 3 for him on the round. Make it 4. A chance to ace here and stop AK from finding their first. Irango is 5 points of health away from doing the dirty. But Sabando weathers the storm and gets All Knights on the board.
Irango almost just completely puts All Knights under his foot and crushes him. The first 3 are impressive. He has to swap to the pistol for the final. If he made that decision a split second earlier, he probably wins this because he gets Sabando down to 5, like you mentioned. Orbital Strike is dodged. You also have the Thrash. He just runs out of ammunition and just takes a little bit too long to swap to the pistol. Otherwise, he wins that 1v4. I mean, flat out. So a moment of reprieve for All Knights, if only just barely, considering how the start had happened. The crunch play was perfect. The weapon collection looked like it was going to be smooth sailing, but now you're on light armors, although you do have full weapons, but you have to face a showstopper and a Thrash here for GLRS.
Yeah. But at least that will win around like that on a thrifty and not full buy shift. That definitely at least means they can do this. Whatever this is, we're about to find out. HL on the fallback here. Molly behind Dante. He's committed to the site now. And in comes Sato. Headbutts a bullet from Nico Machine, but Luxo is the second line of offense and gets in there. Tinchoff, I think he was trying to come out of the back B, out of spawn direction. Just immolates himself. Okay.
That was the thing that just happened.
Well,
and here's another
one
thing.
way to get a point across.
Well, Here's the other thing about All Knights on this composition that struggles defensively. Again, you look at it on paper and you say, whoa, we've got a Cypher, we've got a Deadlock. That's hard stuff to get through. But when you're reacting on a map like Bind, where when the execute comes, it's coming immediately on the site in the first place. Like, it's not like here, they're going to be leaning B. No, it's already on the site. You have to hope that you've got the right setup. And that's why, I was really frustrated kind of watching over at All Knights on defense when they were playing 2-game, was that they were giving up so much of the outside of the map that they never had a chance. And that's happening again. They're trying to get Adverso a little bit more presence in towards Showers, which I can appreciate, but they don't have the ability to stay at B long, to try to get aggressive with just one player in Hookah. There needs to be a second. There's just so many ways that GLRS can break down this map, thanks to the ability of having a second initiator and having the Viper, who can control space with just the simple poison walls that they put up. So it's difficult to make this composition work defensively. I was hoping to see some adjustments, but honestly, just kind of feels like the same thing from a couple of days ago.
Yeah, struggles on the defense side here for All Knights in general. That one broke down into a little bit of a mess, but GLRS really know how to find some pace when they have to. Here again, they look to contest Showers, but it's not going to be a fast hit. So the Sonic Sensor, not sure where this is to find value. Let's see.
Well, the thing that's going to be here is the fact that Dante is watching the thing with Adverso, a little back and forth setup, plus the grab down Paint Shell's combo, but that doesn't fully work out. Paint Shells forces the engagement, and it should have been one that AK should have taken, but instead they lose every fight on the map, and that's where it just becomes a bit inexcusable in terms of the setup. You've got a double focus at B long, a double focus at A Showers, which is exactly what you want, but you don't win any of the fights.
Okay, Nico lets himself get pinged out there. Yeah, these set plays for All Knights are a little out of sync here. Again, they don't really know who's around the corner if they caught them, but I mean, getting caught with that paint shell in hands is going to be pretty frustrating for Dante Deus. Another slow start to a map in this series, and it's about time for an All Knights attack pause.
And the problem with this coming at the pause right now is the fact that that round should have been winnable, should have been a win round, I think, just based on the fact that we've got protocol set up. We've got the raised deadlock combo, which anyone who's ever played against it knows what that should look like. There's not good coordination between the GravNet and the paint shells. Both players want to take fights with weapons first. That's miscoordinated. It turns into a complete flop. A double swing over towards the backside at B long. It's set up initially by a sky smoke plus a trap wire. They double peek B long. They lose both fights at range. So now all of a sudden this tactical pause, what I worry about is that All Knights are going to say, well, clearly we can't play the outsides of the map, but that's what they need to be doing. They need to be forcing these players in towards the interiors where the sonic sensors and things like mollies can slow down plays. But they're not winning on the outside, and now this becomes a multifaceted issue that they have to try to find a way to hurdle.
Nothing wrong with going for those plays. You've got to try and get that deadlock value on defense when you can, especially if it avoids you from being at a massive deficit heading into the second half, and also, basically forcing the pistol to be a must-win. Always nerve-wracking.
True.
Against the best pistol team so far in Ascension?
Yep.
I don't want to be there.
Yeah, 66.6% win rate for them. Casual.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3.
Say.
It's a good ratio. Have to win this one. This is a must win. It's going to be curious because look at the setup. They've now congested the middle, and now they're going to have to play contact on the outside of the map again. Deadlock will rotate over, early guiding light to get B long control. But the setup for GLRS is we've got Nightfall. We can just play straight towards A if we want it.
They're going to Prowler all the way down. That is going to walk into a trap wire. Well, that'll definitely give GLRS a little bit of heads up about what is to come. All this util stacked on the A side. Definitely a feature of the double sentinel composition. And GLRS do need to find a way to start to clear this.
And I just don't love that the spy cam is going to read that, hey, there's a player in Showers, but Showers is going to say, okay, so what? That's not going to change anything. The barrier mesh is already down in Hookah. Trailblazers being sent blindly towards B long, and at least they're making the right call for Sabando to rotate over, but he has to play through heaven, and these players on site are isolated by the Viper wall.
Cage trigger. I think it's one. He's one. Better than he's had in half these rounds, in fairness, but they definitely need more. He comes to hit properly for GLRS. Now Tinchok's got to be knocked aside briefly by the statue.
What?
But Sabando's going to get there. There was smoke there. I'm certain of it. Spike is planted now, but that neural theft is doing a heck of a lot of work. Durango trying to move in between these pings here. Try and stay mobile. Stay unpredictable. Here come the angry cabbages. Seekers came out now. All Night still playing with 4 players here and ends up just being a straight trade into that one. Evil Kick is in a position to disrupt. Spends it here. Tamani might still look for a defuse, and immediately Evil Kick is wrapping around. He's going to have an idea of where these guys are. Jump Pig, though, reveals him. Now he still has to fight the 1 versus 2, and Nico Machine is sharp. Head goes rolling, and All Knights get their second.
I love the idea of the Nightfall, though, in that 1v2. Time's becoming an issue. All Knights have to make an aggressive call in terms of how they want to deal with it, and all of a sudden they have to hit pause because they're decayed so heavily. So it's a really good idea, but the separation of space was just a little bit too much, and then, of course, Nico puts himself on an angle to where he just has to click once, and hopefully he's got the right lineup, and he does. But things get messy again. And I still hold off on the simple fact that I just don't love the fact that AK are giving away space on the outsides of the map. I mean, effectively, the Sky hasn't done much. I mean, there hasn't been an opportunity for forward map progression to come their way. The Trailblazers and Guiding Lights haven't been available to be used on post-plant retakes. Like, this is just an orb play coming through here. Thrash is going to come out to clear the space immediately through Hookah, and, well, at least they deleted it. I was going to say, this could be really punishing if they get detained by the Thrash.
Yeah, I mean, Mosh cleared Octagon here, so All Knights had to give that up and play back to the side. I think they would have loved to have double stack at top B.
Scout destroyed.
Well, no, that has been denied them. Trailblazer sees very little. Showstopper from Nico going for it. Maybe they're hoping to catch something there, but Sato just, well, he sits there and lets his end come to him. Ultimates here for GLRS. Plenty of them to use. Maybe a Thrash to salvage this. Arango's in a bit of a dangerous spot, though. Again, we cleared Octagon, and they walk into his line outside. Perfect setup. Savannah's able to salvage for now. Orbital with his own, but he's low. And Luke Shaw was able to pick him up and sleep away. Slink away into elbow. What could Verso do there? 1v3. Inside the poison orb. Up and up that cope. Look at the setup here. We're going to have player checking for the wrap. 2 sat in Octagon here, and Tinchoff. Well, here's a Guardian. Here's a Guardian in light armor.
Yeah, good luck, have fun. I think that's what we say in these moments.
Bam. How about that one for you? How about them apples, Luke Show? Nice headshot for Tinchoff, but now there's still another player here to clear.
Enemy remain.
He will kick. What was that? Make it 2. Now it's up to Rude. Can he swing this? And yes, Tinchoff denied his sweet release. Rude will put him to bed.
Yeah, another moment. That's a Sabando misplay right there. And the orbital strike is used perfectly in combination of Urango's position over through Hookah. I think he was maybe in a position to where, was he trying to pull out some smokes maybe? Like, hard to say, but he gives up the ledge at Hookah. And as soon as Urango pushes up, the orbital strike pushes everyone out of that Octagon position. It leads to a very easy double when everyone gets pushed through. Trying to recover with an orbital strike of his own, but it just felt like a misplay to give away that much space at Hookah, knowing that you've got players stuck over towards the backside of the Octagon. So small miscue there. May have been because he was placing smoke. Hard to say. But now we're back to pistols all of a sudden, and All Knights are once more in trouble here on their defense.
Barrier mesh is used over towards showers here, so that is going to deny that for now. It at least means that All Knights don't need to worry about getting wrapped on, also just getting completely unraveled in whatever trap play to try and make happen towards there. But GLRS have made their way all the way up to the top of B-Long here. Looking for All Knights. Pretty dodgy stuff.
Yeah.
Bargain bin arsenal for the defenders.
Why are we not giving Tinchoff a sheriff? Do we not remember what he did in map 1? Like, I feel like that seems like a pretty guaranteed at least one. He's hitting.
Yeah, Cypher players don't get to talk. They don't get to play. They buy gun for
smoke.
Duelist. Duelists go unga bunga.
Yeah, true. That's very true. Sensors are going to be active here. Dante, does he follow up off the brilliant first? You still have an annihilation, mind you, as Dante connects again. Maybe a chance for the annihilation to be pulled here if they can get good intel.
30 seconds.
But Aranga's already pushed up so deep on the
my
site.
God.
Wow, he is playing aim labs. Verso too late to the punch here. Stinger. I think he knows what to do with this. Take it and stick it back in his pocket, because he's not using it this round. Got the Tinchoff here. Command denied to Sheriff. Hello, Econ player extraordinaire. It's dragged on down. GLRS post their 7th here heading into round 10. All Knights, not known for their defense on this map. That much is for sure. But they really need a bit of a buffer here.
Yes. And it's, again, the frustrating part about this is it's the same problems that they faced versus 2 game from earlier this last weekend. It's too much space on the outsides of the map. And when the Viper is involved, if you're giving off the outsides of the map, Viper can then just throw up the toxic wall, and then you've got control at least to be able to separate the attention through mid. It's just there's too many things that GLRS can play around. This spy cam setup is just not enough. The sonic sensors have really not been a factor, and now a Prowler's going to scope this out, and Verso is going to have to make decisions on how he wants to use his utility to hold on to Hookah, while the rest of the team over towards A is just hoping that trap wires are enough to hold the mid, and they can just play a crossfire towards showers.
1 minute 14 to play here. That Annihilation's still online for Adverso, but a little tough to find the good spots to use that. Dante here, positioned to turn a flash.
Did you see an elbow?
Luke Show knows he's there. Absolutely knows this, and he's ready for it. Just a little bit of him peeking out. You have to turn away from them, maybe not to show your elbow. Either way, Luke Show's seen that many times before, apparently. Very slow Prowler. Spending most of his game killing pets. Yeah, and Sato throws that at him. Great util usage. So GLRS really just force themselves onto this A site. Put All Knights in a full retake scenario here, and it's ugly. They really don't have the util to make this happen. The weaponry either, and they say no. Adverso, incredible on the first map. Haven, no kills yet.
Yeah, it's just the deadlock is just not finding any value defensively, and I don't know what they need to be doing to get him more active and involved, but like have we even seen a barrier mesh on our POV yet? I don't even think we've seen a barrier.
Not on our POV, only on the minimap.
Yeah.
Down and out.
So it's just it's one of those situations where it's just like the deadlock value is null. The one time they had a good setup for it was the raised deadlock combo towards showers. They just lost their gunfights and they didn't coordinate their abilities well. Like, I want to see more of that, because we really haven't even seen Dante do anything either. It's just been a quiet game for both of them. I mean, 0-8, of course, that's not good. But Dante, who was the X factor in map number 1, hasn't really provided much utility or presence here on the defensive side either. I think they just need to lock in with what they're doing with this duo.
It takes a long time to integrate deadlock into your strategy. I mean, let's think back to like VCT Americas this year, where it was Loud started playing deadlock on Lotus. Sarnak was on deadlock, and that first game he was actively trolling, like literally griefing the game, like walling his teammates off into corners, like in the middle of an open site. It was so bad. But the next time we saw them, it looked much better.
Wow.
Right? Oh, all right. Well, AK deciding to go for the old faithful aggressive play towards shower.
That's different. Just a raw, flat out, fly out, double peek it, swide swing. For a second, I was like, why are we doing this? We've got the ability to lock down showers with the spy cam, but now they've got a barrier match to lock it down, and they can take all their focus over towards Hookah. Savando stuck over towards the backside of Garden, though. That's not going to work out, but Adverso is in play and has found 3.
Yep. His first 3 of the game. What a round to find them.
I'll agree.
Now that Annihilation starts to look a little more tempting.
I just don't know if you need it right now. 3v2 with good presence over towards A. And they're going to try to bait out a pull with the fake plant, but they're going to wait for Tinchoff here. And that should be hopefully enough to surround this post plant. But the Viper's Pit makes things difficult, and you may have to try to Annihilation through this to see if you can blindly grab one.
No escape.
The range is pretty good, at least. Okay, that grab net is a long way
I'll
away.
say.
Ooh, nasty. He might be forced out of this pit. But only a shorty. He needs to be wary. Sato with 2 kills here in this round, waiting for Dante Deus to try and test this. No util left on any of the defenders here. Still a snake flight for Luke Show to work within the post plant, but Dante gets the better of Luke Show. Here's Sato, though.
Unreal.
4 kills in a round. Sato looking for the ace here. It's Tinchoff to try and avert that disastrous situation, but the shorty claims him. And now his kidney's on sale in the black market. Beautiful ace from Sato. Just compounding the domination by GLRS in this round.
Filthy. And candidly, that took way too long. I mean, Tinchoff is taking his sweet time clearing out Hookah, which is fine. Viper's Pit allows him a chance to try to isolate that, but if the whole play is to drop an Annihilation to block off part of the Viper's Pit and then hit from the other side with Dante, why are we not doing that a bit sooner? Sato just stays away from it and just responds to whatever his teammates either don't pick up inside the Viper's Pit or whatever abilities he sees over the top. Now, I'm not going to dismiss the fact that that was an unbelievable ace and an incredulous individual clutch, but that just feels like another round where AK are just so apprehensive of what they want to do defensively, and now we're on the final of the half, which is a showstopper to play with.
Sambro, deadlock all pretty good there. Absolutely brutal. Sato gets the hot foot here.
There.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't move up any further on the side here. The barrier mesh is probably not going to be a factor for too much longer as Thrash goes hunting in vent. And Dante is chomped. The Tinchoff, so as close as you can get to Sato without him seeing you. Defenders look like they're stabilizing here. Oh, Luke Show, that went between his legs. I'm certain of it. Still got brought down by Adverso, though, and it's just rude. Okay. AK get themselves a little bit of something here at the end of this defense side, but it is, well, similarly average to what we saw from against 2G.
That's the round that they win? Like, what are we talking
Switching
about?
sides.
It's just, it almost feels like a round where all nights are like, we just got to hope and pray here. And at the same point, you also have GLRS just kind of, you know, slamming the gas and just lets us go. Like, that's play one of the playbook of we're just better. Let's just go hill W and point and click. But some weirdness there. That's the third round that they win. And for what it's worth, you know, again, we got to go back to what had happened when they played this map before versus 2 game. It was a 9-3 half, and then they bounced back. They only dropped their bonus round in the second half when they swapped to the offense. They won the pistol, won the anti-eco, lost the bonus, and then swept the floor from there. So there is still an opportunity here where all nights are saying, trust our offense, we're fine. For GLRS, you have to know that anytime the spike gets planted, it essentially means a round loss. You have to get good damage dealt early on the contests of these spike plants, because if the Cypher and the Deadlock are still alive in a post plant, the round's pretty much done, it feels like.
The 3 rounds. Is that going to be enough of a staging ground here for all nights to run away with the game? I hate that we're doing this shift, but I've got to talk about this pistol. The start of this game, it was Luke Shaw who just strode into showers.
Incorrect.
2 headshots with the Sheriff. It got traded back pretty heavily, but Sato turns up and finds 3 of his own here. So this GLRS team, so good at them. And it almost makes me forget about what happened in the last map, which was, I mean, a bit of a violation of its own.
Yeah.
Which means that GLRS take this map, we go to Ascent for our decider.
Yeah. Abyss for our decider, I think, right?
Did I say Ascent? Sorry, Abyss it is, yes.
Yeah.
It will be Abyss.
My memory isn't so good, so you had me second guessing myself. Yeah, Abyss.
we're good.
Abyss is the third. Should be an interesting one if we do get there.
I mean, I'm thinking back to that TSM Glorious game, that really long overtime one where Sato was just going absolutely mental.
Yep. That was the thing that happened. I was there. I watched it. PC has the ability to do that sometimes. But this feels like the game in a way. Have to have this pistol if you're all nights. And again, the success story is get a plant. Keep your Deadlock alive. I know Adverso did not have a great first half, but the Deadlock abilities in their own win games.
All right, fam, we once again invoke the deep magic of the 9-3 curse. So much hinges on this round here, and all nights are in no hurry right now. I thought there was a sky smoke there over towards showers, so this will be a slower take up of that position by Adverso, who's really concerned about a push up.
Yep. Well, because you also have the toxic screen there too. I mean, it's going to be difficult for all nights to contest showers without spending utility, unless they wait for the sky smoke to fade and the toxic screen is down, and then you can try to vanilla peek it, which is what Adverso is trying to do here.
It's possible that AK are trying to bait a showers crunch here out of GLRS and have Tinchoff watch the cross. So Adverso might want to make a little more happen here. I just don't think that, you see GLRS take that risk now with no info about B-Long.
And there's enough toxic integrity here for Luke Show to slow this down, drop the wall, drop a snake bite. That stops the entire play. But I was about to say they're going to try to maybe teleport back over. Not going to happen, at least not comfortably, as Rude finds first blood on Adverso.
That's not a showers crunch.
Yeah.
That's not what that is. Still, they take the TP now, get over towards the A site. 18 seconds left and counting down. Sabanda there finds a nice little angle to catch a flank play, but this is about to get messy. The spike, they need 4 seconds for it. Luke Show drops down, gets the literal drop on 2 players, and my goodness, this guy is accurate. But it's Savannah v Sato, 2 incredible players over the course of this series, with the fate of the pistol round in the balance, and Sabando. Well, Sato has nerves of steel. He does not test him.
Huge.
That is devastating for AK.
It's absolutely devastating. You called it perfectly. It's just they're trying to see if they could bait out some sort of a rotation over to B, hit the teleporter, come back, but the 1v1's lost. You know, that's just a moment where I know Adverso hasn't had the greatest of game. Don't mean to pile on, but you win that 1v1, you probably win the round. Doesn't happen. And then the backup after that, paint shells, molly, sees, everything thrown, just stalls it out to be too long. And maybe if there's an extra second and a half, that sky smoke dissipates and Sato gets revealed, and maybe you can take that 1v1, but Sabano just has no idea where he's at.
Definitely a wind out of the sails moment for All Knights. Can they win the Thrifty?
Have
Do they
to have
have
it.
a cute play? Because some of their set plays have been awkward. Luke Show there, testing the corner. Flash, but it doesn't get too much ground. It's just going to be that toxic screen thrown up. But hey, we're going to showers again, folks. Did you miss us, Rude?
Oh, here's the thing, though, Mitch. They're going to keep Dante at B long. Thing is, GLRS have taken mid-map away. So they're fine allowing showers to go because they can just contest it the same way that they had. Shoulder seen. Sabando will get the information. He really wants to just get a one-tap here. Turn the tides. Sato feeling the battle. Takes him down to 70 HP. And now here comes the reflip back over to B. This will be a commitment on the B site.
Or what if, and stop me if you've heard this one before.
It's not going to happen.
They do have some A short presence. But if nothing gets going there,
No way.
All Knights would have to fall back. Okay.
30 seconds.
I try to press towards B. They're going to go through the TP again.
There's no time.
They're doing it. 23 seconds left of the round, and we're out and off to the races. All Knights have to hit this side awful hard here, and instead they just get fed into the wood chipper.
Down A.
Well, everybody, meet back on the venue. And that'll be that. Another All Knights attack round attempt in shambles.
And that's a moment where you just like, I get it. We don't have great weapons, but the utility is what's winning these rounds for GLRS. And I have to say, I love the way that they're playing with some proactive utility. Getting some space early, again, getting that double walk down through A main allows an opportunity for things like mollies and paint shells to be held onto. You can use them as reactionary tools to stop the plays at the choke points. That's kind of I think on paper, that's what you're looking for Deadlock to do. Like, oh, the play's coming through showers, let me drop a barrier mesh, you're stopped. Like, on paper, that's what you expect to see. It just has not been that way because, again, the information gathering for the side of GLRS has been so much better. It's happening again. This double initiator comp is allowing so much freedom. Good trade back keeps us 4v4.
Someone else who does this, by the way, when they're like a round or two away from winning is TSM. They just like run at you down B long. And it almost always works. This time, no exception, apparently. Adverso, though, in the game just a little bit more. Okay, wow. Looks like Lassie got more than she bargained for there. Morongo gets chomped here, and Rude is found through the corner. So All Knights looking to pick up a consolation round here, or maybe begin a run back. It is long. It will be quite the climb. Now Luke Show is in the position to ruin AK's day.
I wouldn't put it past him. He's shown that he can do this. And there's the first. Uh-oh.
Okay. Pack it up. Dante, great timing. Love to see that. Just as that snake bite was coming out, All Knights get their 4th round of the game in round 15.
Okay. But I got to see something, some sign of life here that, you know, if All Knights are going to keep trying to play around this, we're at B, no, we're at A, no, we're at B, no, we're at A. Like, the thing about it is, with this Viper wall, the defense of GLRS just does not care if you go between the teleporter because they can just pop up the wall whenever they feel like they need it. You drop a snake bite towards B, drop a molly towards A if you feel like you need that, and it just stalls out the play convincingly. It's like the opposite effect of what was going wrong for All Knights on defense. Now they've got no mid-map pressure. Good opener. Luke Show just trying to find something deep towards B long. That gets denied. Trailblazer to scout out with the boombot, but Rude got the judge, and you'll find at least some sort of a trade back to spamming through the smoke.
As the smoke clears, it's All Knights that player advantage. Map control, though, not something they have lots of, owing to that aggressive push-up by GLRS, so they're going to have to start to clear that now. 1 minute, 7 seconds in the round. This here is a little bit of an awful one for GLRS losing this round. If we're going to force them onto something that resembles a save. Seekers forward. No info to be gained from that here, as I think GLRS do sniff out this impending approach from AK down A short.
Sato. Uh-oh.
What? My God! Check him, damn PC! All right, Nico Machine, how's your mog post feeling right now? Probably not great. Dizzy comes in, it's Drew on the face. This time he gets the haunt, though.
30 seconds left.
Morongo's been incredible this map. That is absurd.
Yeah, that's game. I mean, pending some sort of a miracle, but GLRS have done everything they needed to do to stop this deadlock effectiveness. Don't let the spike go down. Contest through mid. Find ways to get early information.
10 seconds left.
It's really frustrating for All Knights seeing the same essential problem occur round after round after round. And you got time out here. I mean, this has not at all been well constructed for All Knights in terms of how they're approaching the map. Not from the defensive side. And again, there's not a lot of lifeline here to create some sort of a trend on the offensive side. So it's do or die. Well, not really. It's do or map 3, but
GLRS are not allowing there to be a post plant at all.
No, there's
they
no
are playing
plants.
in the prescribed manner against the deadlock. The deadlock pick is completely useless this game. Adversa does very little on the defense side, can't set up the trap place, fine. But when it comes to the offense side, you're supposed to be able to get the spike down, get a nice barrier mesh, force your opponents to filter through or to make it very obvious they're coming from the barrier mesh direction. None of that has happened. None. Dante here, able to catch Evil Kick with that showstopper. That's a good opening here, but now Lucho's going to be waiting for him. Feels like the final boss on some occasions, and yep, he's going to be good for the first one. Backs away with 50. The follow-up's going to be there, and Lucho finds 2 in the round. Orbital Strike, you're going to be skirted for the most part, but Sato now is getting involved. Savando close angle with the Stinger. Wild Spray doesn't catch enough, and Adverso, a veteran, ex-Leviathan player on that first roster, is able to keep All Knights in the game.
Yeah, here's the other thing that we haven't said yet, but I think is another kind of mentality shift that GLRS has brought into this defensive side is even if it costs us a 2-for-2 exchange, a 3-for-2 exchange, don't allow the post plant to be 4 or more players. We're fine trading out lives and then playing retake essentially if we have to in a 2v2, because then things like barrier mesh, if Adverse is even still up, just don't feel as effective. So that's the other side of this. I feel like a lot of teams who play against deadlock comps like this want to try to get super aggressive or stay super passive. This has been a bit of a hybrid of both. The Annihilation will be out for a moment as the hit towards A is on the way. Rude trying to hang on, but cannot save Sato, and that might be enough for a 4v2.
All right, with the Annihilation play.
Enemy remaining.
Tinchoff in smoke, ready for Rude to step up. And now, Lucho, if you do look at the money here for GLRS,
Spike planted.
be on a save for the next. So All Knights in a position to make this result a little more respectable. I know the crowd are getting behind him again, want to keep that last remaining LATAM seed in the tournament. And look, in the grand scheme of things, they looked amazing on Haven. Heading to Abyss for the final map, that one is really anyone's game.
And I just kind of building off the point, you know, for All Knights, how do you counteract the ability to be countered by this kind of forward contest that GLRS is showing that they're primed to take? Hit him hard, hit him fast. I'm fine with that tempo change. Drop your trap wires to guard against the flank. You got a spy cam through mid. Just flood them from both sides at the same time. You know, try to get value out of Nico Machine's utility because you're only breaching into one site. You're not trying to be cute by trying to move this GLRS defense around. Just commit through this defensive utility, whether it be things like a Haunt or a Molly or some sort of a snake bite. Like, just push through it. Just get your numbers. Take your 5v2 or 5v3 on site, get the spike planted, and then when you're dealing with a 3v2 situation with your Sentinel still up, then you've got a little bit more security in your post plant. I'm fine with that as well. It's just, it's different from what they did versus 2 game. And now GLRS will talk about, okay, if this continues to be the case, how do we deal with it? Because you don't want to get overwhelmed and just blitz that because you're trying to play through the outsides of the map a little bit more. You're going to get caught in these 4v1 situations or 3v1 situations. Maybe we do need to kind of use a little utility first to feel out where this hit might be coming from before we commit.
Wow, for free? Really? What a generous king we stand. 6-round lead here for GLRS. And all they really need to do, honestly, is come across one of those rounds where they have enough of ultimates just to wash All Knights away. Fields of All Knights winning here are pretty low, folks. I'm just trying to give it to you straight. To make this comeback happen, it'll be one of the more ridiculous ones, that's for sure.
Tough decisions here. Again, the pressure is still on big time for All Knights. Obviously, they're facing map point here. But can you do enough to play around with the chess game that has been this offensive tempo? you know, initially in pistols, anti-ecos, low buys, they're getting held at the gates because of all of the defensive mollies and defensive utility that kind of controls that entryway. But if you can start to build up some of these ultimates, start to put something in your favor besides just the weaponry, can you turn this game mentally back into your favor to make GLRS start to second guess what their setups are coming off this time out?
I mean, it's going to be 4 gun rounds, including this one, that All Knights would have to fight against in theory. Eventually, like, we're going to have Showstopper. We're going to have Thrash online in some of those rounds. Hard to win against those. Okay, Tinchoff. Trading blows with the Runker. Comes out to the better. Doesn't really gain anything from that. Just probing, trying to keep those 2 players over at A interested while this happens at B. Evil Kick is removed here. That's pretty clean work now for All Knights. That's what they want. Again, the economy doesn't matter so much. If they lose 1 round, they're done. So it doesn't matter if they lose guns here. They want to try and keep rifles flowing as much as they can. And if they win, that won't be an issue.
Yeah. Should be the round. Barrier mesh blocking off main. This is going to be Rude and Urango just trying to forfeit their lives to the spike. Should be fine to do that. And not much to learn from that round in particular. GLRS just try to get some sort of a cheeky angle peek, try to play with timing with Evil Kick. Doesn't work out, he gets caught, and then the follow-up angles are also kind of decimated immediately. And we're getting aggressive to see if we can kind of at least get some eliminations and deny just the spike giving free orb cancellation. So that'll work out, okay? Sabando orbital strike at the ready. At least something to work with. But a long road ahead of them, and no mistakes can be afforded, especially like you mentioned, when ultimates start to come online for the defense.
All right. That was probably the expected round to win there for All Knights. GLRS again, a couple away from, again, Showstopper. Thrash still a ways off here, but All Knights definitely still online for this comeback. Verso here trying to really immerse himself in these next few rounds. And the monitor. Do have that hunt of rather the Viper's Pit, excuse me. The Nightfall available. Here comes a pusher up long.
Oh.
They tried to catch him on the grab net. Rude is in the grab net, baby. There you go.
No free orbs. You touch one of those orbs, you're getting grab net orbital strike. Get off the map.
That's a big punish, and honestly, a worthwhile use of that orbital strike. At best, it's often speculative in value, or to interrupt a plant from Wingman or such. Not that All Knights have one of those. So Viper's Pit over towards A short here. This has definitely slowed things up for AK.
They can challenge this if they want to. I mean, with this position, you can start to break this down a touch. Try to force maybe some extra defensive consideration over towards A. I'm actually a little surprised they won't commit one of Sabando's smokes to kind of block off half of it and keep the defense more interested and then eventually isolate over towards Hookah, but this will be one of those gut check, just kind of overall hits. And it's just going to flat out come down to, can you hit your shots if you're GLRS? It's a 2v4.
I've got your
They're out of time to get more information. Seekers here.
Seconds left.
So I tell a lie. Evil Kick going to get spotted by that one first. Nightfall thrown at the attack is coming through B main, but someone's gotten to elbow. Okay. Pretty strong positioning for All Knights, but Evil Kick still playing out in the open. Dante has to challenge it, and he's not ready for the play that stuck his way in. Now playing on the side properly. And wow, is that a post-plant deadlock wall?
Sure is.
Are we seeing it?
Round win.
Unreal. Value town, baby. GLRS have to save.
Round win. Toss barrier mesh into B-long.
We got
win.
there.
Yep. And that's, to be fair, it's an expensive round still for All Knights. You had to use the orbital strike. You had to use the Seekers. So again, their information gathering has not been necessarily strong, but you see more of the map. Not going to be the greatest purchase coming up for GLRS, you would figure, especially with Urango on low overall count. But again, the thing is, and I talked about this once before in the group stage, if GLRS can just keep stacking up and playing for an ultimate win map, a round rather, you know, Showstopper, Orbital Strike, Thrash, those are all win condition based ultimates when used with one another. So that's still in the back pocket for GLRS. You don't like to see them step off the gas too much to just play for that alone, but it is a get out of jail free card in at least some ways.
4 more rounds. With one now coming up as a half buy, given the GLRS saved those 2 Vandals. This is starting to become a little more possible. Less of just an outside chance here. There's been confidence here for All Knights. They're ticking over, but this is a team, by the way, they talk so much smack. In their LATAM games.
Yeah.
I think it's because they have bad blood with Reta, personally.
Sure.
But they have not been doing that. They've been very focused here. They just ruined it. Oh, the show's Dante over the top, but Sato still gets the better of him. Stim Beacon going to be thrown down. Give Sato the edge. And now All Knights down to 3 for the game. GLRS here, prowl over towards Shower. They now know that Team Top is playing up much closer than they thought. He will push the smoke, most likely. Adverso for 2. Now the numbers favor All Knights. They've come back into this. And the barrier mesh going to be thrown down over towards Vents means that GLRS have to play from heaven.
That was the craziest Raze interaction I've seen maybe ever. And now it's down to, you gotta break the barrier mesh. Yeah, and this is not gonna happen. Barrier mesh wins rounds. I mean, that initially, in what is a half-buy round for GLRS, is the perfect storm. I mean, you avoid the initial 1v1, you turn it into a showstopper mishap. Durango's not done yet, by the way. Flashes out, now it's just down to what can he find off the Dizzy.
Nico shot Dizzy. 8 bullets left for Orango. That's all he had. And Nico says no. Takes another gun away. GLRS, yeah, sure enough, can buy, but this margin is closing up awfully quickly. And there's plenty of money for All Knights to go around.
Oh my God. This initially is just
a fake comeback. I'll be so mad.
I know it. That is bananas, though, out of Sato. Legitimately doing a lot of it just on his own. He had support nearby, but that was all just Sato by himself. The initial blast pack plays are crazy. His sidestepping showstoppers gets him off the no-fly zone. Unreal things. But now, orbital strike at the ready. Thrash nearby for Urango. Weapons in hand for GLRS, but it does nearly bankrupt them. So again, another important round here in terms of what do you use if you can get Urango a Thrash. Maybe you use it in combination with the orbital strike. Maybe you save it for what would be a 12-11 trying to avoid overtime situation. Hard to say.
Orbital strike here for Rude.
Launching smoke.
So far, it's just going to be that annoying one-way smoke over to short. AK want to take their time this round. Look at where the trap wires are. They're deep anti-flank traps. I mean, it seemed that way, but they've actually sent someone through the TP. That's Nico. Going to rattle the cage over on the B side. Rile up the locals. And here it is. He's going to stop the plant. Sabanda should have gotten out before he got a tick. He did.
Listening.
And now time starts to become a concern.
Yeah,
Sonic Sensor deployed inside U-Haul here.
Yeah, barrier mesh is going to get avoided, though. With that orbital strike being placed, they can break through it. So there's an opportunity to still work this back. If you are the defensive GLRS, they find the first blood on the retake.
They've got to go. They've got to make a move here. They're going to just try and take a fight. No, they leave Dante Deus behind. Sato pushes up. He's ready for it, but he had the shorty the whole time. Linko brings Luxo down, and now the player advantage for All Knights. They've got that B-side dead to rights, and Dante's not done. Janitor on duty, folks. And Rude has to try and find a way out of this one. Dance with the devil.
Stupid. How does he win that with a shorty? I mean, you got to be feeling like if you were to pause, you'd be like, oh no, I'm scared. I got no ammo left. All I got is a shorty. Take this, 2 in the chest. Later. Like, unreal. That is the definition of a hero play from Dante. Maybe a little bit of blessing because the shorty hits like a freight train. If he loses that, it's done. I mean, legitimately, it's done. Unbelievable from Dante.
If I'm in this position, I'm calling attack pause to order my IV for the next morning. Just to make sure I'm recovering. This is going to be wild. 2 rounds away from forcing overtime are All Knights. And GLRS have their last attack pause of regulation to figure this out. They've been all over the place.
Yeah.
All Knights place those 2 deep anti-flank traps. Push Dante up to fight Sato in the most ridiculous anime battle I've seen. Wins out with the shorty. Nuts game. Absolutely ridiculous. This is our second map of the series. This is All Knights fighting to end it here.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Orbital strike was used by the defense right there. So that's an ultimate off the table. They're not going to be in a good financial spot to purchase. We're going to be looking at what, again, should be a 12-11 count with either you win it to avoid overtime and send us to a third map, or we go OT with the potential of being sent to the lower bracket to beat M80, which is not going to feel good to have your lower round 1 matchup be versus M80. So, wow. how things have changed so quickly. And the issue here is that you're obviously on limited buy. You just have the Thrash. There's nothing else even close. So Showstopper, Annihilation, possibility of a neural theft for Tinchop, maybe even another Seekers for Nico, depending on how the round goes.
Cage triggered.
Okay, so a little bit of a probe up there for GLRS. Yields nothing. And they left the A side pretty short-handed here. Rude is going to have to plant his feet here and dig in. He's going to allow the plant to happen here. If someone steps up, he gets stinger value. Maybe has the chance to find a timing and off angle because All Knights have not cleared this. They have not cleared this part of the map. Now they've done so.
Yeah, the barrier to block
Showstopper.
off. Yeah, plus the grab net. This is looking good.
I respect it. Secure this. Sabano down to 1 though. Yeah, he needs to get out. Try and hold on that gun if he can. And there's an Annihilation available here for Averso. Pretty nice for the next round, if I'm honest with you. Okay. Little swing there from Rude and leaves Durango the last man standing. This was an unbelievably one-sided game. We were done. We were talking about the next map already, and now All Knights are 1 round away from forcing us into overtime on Bind.
There are so many things we have to consider for this round. The Annihilation, it gives you another thing for post-plant security. If you can get the plant down, you can stall a little bit longer, throw a blind Annihilation, see if you can wrap someone up and stave off the post-plant a little bit longer in terms of the retake. For GLRS, do you want to use the Thrash maybe early to take away the map and force the hand of All Knights' offense to go one way or the other? But by the way, it's going A. They've got double traps that are down. So there might be a battle right here as soon as the barriers drop, Mitch.
Yeah, don't play for retake. I think you can't afford it against a deadlock comp. Here we go. That's going to be a grab net thrown down. Rude caught out inside of it. Annihilation. Looks like Klur onto Orango. It's unclear. Savano fighting tooth and nail. They're over on A short, and someone's still inside the Annihilation. Orango save him. Rude gets taken down. And GLRS are down to 2 players left. Side is smoked. No plant just yet. The last 2 defenders coming out here through vents, but they got to break through the barrier mesh. It's up to Evil Kick and Luke Show to bail GLRS out of this situation. All Knights with 4. Luke Show steps up, but he can't see a damn thing. He's got a player inside U-Haul. He can't trade off of them. He can't crossfire them. Adverso waits and finds his moment to spring forth. And all the hopes for GLRS in regulation hang on Evil Kick's shoulders, but he's spotted out. Molly to the side. That's going to delay it. He's got to back away. Adverso dancing behind the boxes. And somehow, against the odds, All Knights have forced this to overtime. 11-3 down. With the crowd behind them, they fight
Switching
back.
sides. Overtime.
Unreal stuff. And a moment in there where it looked like there was just not good delineation of comms for GLRS. Are we fighting through mid, or are we fighting at showers? It was kind of both at the same time. The Annihilation makes a mess of it. Urango doesn't know which direction to look. He tries to force himself over towards showers, but there's not an entryway. He gets crunched on through mid. It's just kind of a moment where he's stuck in no man's land with really no certainty of which direction he needs to help. Do I help my teammate in Annihilation, or do I forfeit him, try to play for some mid-map control and then come back to showers? He doesn't know, and he's caught between decisions, and that leads to All Knights with all eyes set towards A, breaking it down. But now we swap the sides back and forth again. What do they do on defense to try to catch an edge and keep the momentum in their favor?
Smoke's down.
Only trap here over towards showers, but I don't think GLRS is going to give them anything there. Instead, an off angle held inside hookah by Sabando. Risky. Can be easily cleared. Tinchov is following it as well. No Adverso here to be in a forward position to give the game away.
Oh.
This is tense. There goes the spike loose.
Down.
Simon Cage also popped up, and all that Sada can do is get the spike and get out for now.
It's the one round that GLRS decide, instead of playing on the outsides of the map, which they've had for free, they get dissuaded by an early barrier mesh drop over towards showers. They try to play through hookah, and that's the one time that there's a double crossfire setup. We have yet to see that from All Knights, and for it to work out feels like a bit of a blessing. Now 5v4, GLRS will have to make a decision. They're trying to avoid all of the Sentinel setup over towards A and take their 4v question mark here on the B site, where there's a spy cam to read it first.
Starting to clear the trap wire there with a satchel. A blast pack, getting rid of that. Oh my no! Tinchop sees Sato from below the ledge. Now Evil Kick has to step up and recover. Things favoring the defenders here. It's All Knights all day, baby. And Evil Kick's got nothing to do. 10 health. And watching a tsunami about to crash upon him. Now we dot the I's, cross the T's, and Evil Kick can sit and ponder. What exactly has befallen him and this team?
Unreal.
A nightmare!
unreal. That is just
Switching sides.
the perfect storm for a setup. I won't call it a blind counter, but the spike is peeking first. It tries to just raw contact through hookah, which, to be fair, is a position that they've had some contest in. Not having any of it, they're thinking maybe we can walk down. You see the early barrier mesh towards showers. We found a lot of success on offense over towards A. Maybe they're stacking. We could just walk into hookah, but wouldn't you know, it's the one round that All Knights have a double crossfire setup, and it turns into first blood plus some with the spy camp watching hookah afterwards, and now they go to their stronger side. Could it possibly be the full bounce back after being down 11-3?
In between rounds, Adversa was trying to tell his team to stay calm. Keep that composure. They're so close here. Luxo's going to be forced away by the blast pack. Evil Kick is isolated, but Nico is out in the open. They can try and clear this with a double swing, and they do. Numbers even up now, and Luxo also come off pretty poorly after that first engagement, down to 42.
And this is difficult to read because you got the one kill, sure, but this 4v4 without any actual information inside of B main, this could be interesting because Rude has not given up showers. Smoke will come down, it's just a fake, but him being in that position at showers reads that this is just one person. We don't have to flex the defense around. You still have a lot of molly action, plus things like the Dizzy for Urango over towards B. The defense is set up to deal with it. It just comes down to the timing and if they hit their shots.
Sabano comes back around. Very elaborate attempt at selling a fake, and they still kept those two glorious plays at A. This is the time to strike for All Knights. This is the opening.
30 seconds left.
Urango juggling that. What's the go signal here? Some spray. They're waiting for this wall to come down, then they're going to go. Yes, they're already ready with the stim beacon, and they're off to it. There's a timing, though. There's a clock. There's going to be a player pushing in from hookah behind them. It's going to be Sato. Dangerous, but Adverso is ready for him. Tries to take Urango, but Urango's been so good over the course of this map. It's tough to beat him. 10 seconds left. They're going for a plant. Rude in a position to disrupt this, but they can plant safely behind this cover. Dante Deus, the plant goes down, and it's a 3v2 favoring the attackers. Now Sabando clears showers out. It's Urango and Luxo, the latter, down to 42 health. And All Knights up on the corner. Dirty stuff! Luxo goes down. Dante plays off the angle, and Urango's caught in the middle of the site. And he has no choice but to step up. Baits a shot from Tinchoff, it's good. Urango at 49 in the 1 versus 2, but time is of the essence. And he heads over to triple now. It's being covered from Chower, covered from Short, and All Knights with full plot armor come back from an 11-3 deficit and make their way to the upper finals. What a story for this home region team.
I cannot believe how this map went. I mean, a 9-3 half, followed up by a pistol and an anti-eco win. All Knights win off the bonus, but lose the follow-up gun round, and you think it's over. There's just no way that GLRS find the lack of success that they ended up finding when they're playing from the defensive side. They were finding so much success, contesting at the barrier point, not allowing the spike to go down. Time expired on a handful of those rounds. But then all of a sudden, All Knights just say, you know, enough of us getting cute, finessing around the map. Let's just drop double trap wires and a spy cam behind us and flood them. And just take a 5v3. Deadlock will stay alive. Toss the barrier mesh over the top of the truck. Get the plant. Win it out because they can't recontest. And that turns into, I think, what we were talking about at one point during a tactical timeout of GLRS got in their head too much. They had the one trap play down A main, whereas the weird battle between the Raises, the showstopper gets avoided, but Sato still finds a second. You think that might be it. But all of a sudden, All Knights battle back a 3v5. The defense never gets back into position after they win those opening 2 gunfights. And at that point on, GLRS just looked lost to find any ground to work with. Trying to receive every single hit, and the deadlock difference eventually pays out late after an 0-8 start. Unreal.
Yeah, Adverso really getting back into the game in a huge way. Sabano and Dante Deus also with a great series. Luxo, I don't think he got a kill in the last 9 rounds of the game. Such a critical player, had been for GLRS. But I mean, winning 10 rounds is never going to look good for your opponents, that is for sure. And for GLRS, at least, it's a lower bracket run for them now. They're still in the tournament. At least they didn't go out to that kind of showing. But for All Knights, These guys deserve their flowers. It felt like it was destiny today here, and they've set themselves up with a rematch against M80. We're going to head to the desk. We're going to take a breath, and we'll be back with our coverage of our post-matches.
I mean, they definitely deserve a breath of breather. I hope they get some good food and some good rest for tonight. The casters and the players, because for all nights, what a crazy comeback. Unbind to be closing this out in 2. I mean, Jen, we go from this 11-3 in GLRS' favor. It looks like we're talking about Abyss finally. It looks like we're getting our map 3, and absolutely not if All Knights have anything to say about it.
The bag was fumbled. This map was fumbled. I cannot believe this. It followed a script, though, that we had predicted of All Knights with a double sentinel, not really putting up much of a fight on defense. 9-3 half going to GLRS. All Knights really need more time, to be honest, on the double senti defense. But for some reason, man, did they pull through on offense. Finally figuring out, going to the A site, throwing the barrier onto the other side, causing absolute chaos, confusion on GLRS. And we said, All Knights, they pulled through in the fragging department. They got GLRS nervous when they, the game got really chokeable at some point for GLRS. And despite GLRS having so much more options for information, with the Fade, with the Gecko, All Knights were operating blind. And they still were able to win their duels. I can't believe All Knights came back.
Oh man, I am still, my brain's still trying to catch up to what we got to see. I feel like when we saw that map too, it was a GLRS that once we got that side swap, they were so far ahead and they did such a good job kind of pushing AK back through the first couple of rounds, and then AK, they finally got cozy with it. It seems like they had fully warmed up into playing up against what GLRS wanted to do. And then as soon as that happened, the floodgates were completely open. It seemed like it was hard pressed to stop that onslaught.
The double sentinels on post plant. The casters pointed out, if you could prevent All Knights from getting to a post plant, you're in a good position. You do not want that deadlock to have you till once the spike was planted. And you saw in the stats just now, 12 out of 12 post plants succeeded for All Knights. Once they were in that position, they could not be stopped. And that's how they came back in the end.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, MVP definitely deserved for Urango because they were stepping it up in the last moments, and there were times where genuinely GLRS should have won it out, should have been able to really pull through with this and stay in the upper bracket stage because of this player alone. And I think that definitely deserves a lot more than just the MVP, though All Knights being the better team, right? Resolve was there, patience seeped in. Even though Urango was pulling through, there was a lot more coming through from AK, right? With Dante obviously taking up that MVP spot, putting a lot of work in alongside Nico Machine. And I thought that was beautiful, right? The initiator duelist roles really making those entries come into fruition.
I mean, you're talking about Urango being an MVP and absolutely popping off, making things difficult for AK. But the desk talks through the lens of the victor, so we have to talk a little bit more about AK and the MVP over on that end, which is Dante. Because when I talk back to those moments of GLRS using this util constantly to push AK back, I mean, if they can't get on a site, they can never use this post-plant deadlock util they want to go for. But Dante was the key to pushing through that and highlighting a couple of rounds. We couldn't pull them all. There was a couple too many there at the end. But looking back here, Jen, on this round 20 and 22, and just kind of this impact that Dante was even able to make, even just looking at this site, look at him sneaking through the nightfall.
Yeah, what the heck? Because this team, I was so worried they were about to all flood in through one doorway and get absolutely mowed down, because that All Knights can sometimes stagger in and lose and just give up a lot of multi-kills. But Dante holding that off angle, getting that first pick, gave his team confidence to push in with him with all the smokes in the way. Dante just had to send it. He willed this team to a win. Even when he would run out of bullets, you kind of saw at the end of that clip, pulling out a shorty randomly and getting a kill, and a very crucial, impactful kill at that. Dante, I mean, his back must hurt. We said it was going to be about the duelist. I did not know Dante was going to single-handedly turn games and rounds away the way he did.
Wait, how you're saying that you didn't know that? I've only said Dante's name a million times throughout this broadcast.
It looked pretty
is
bad at the beginning. Not on the individual, but man, a 9-3 half was not looking good for them,
You're not wrong on there. You're not wrong on that. But when we talked about the fact that, okay, defensively, AK, they kind of struggled a little bit, and then we didn't get to see the post-plant deadlock util too much. They've really started ramping up with that deadlock, and Averso here, Gompers, I think, deserves a lot of praise. Specifically, even calling back to round 24. We're getting into the nitty gritty of it. And this GravNet, this annihilation, and the flood that happens from the team after was amazing. GLRS couldn't do anything.
I think it was perfect too, because it not only was it that, okay, now we're starting to see a little bit more of the deadlock util. Now, you know, GLRS trying to fight back with a little bit of something on their own. With that thrash coming in, it just wasn't capable of anything. And Adverso clutched this round single-handedly and also showed the audience, showed us, showed everyone watching the stream that they were putting in more effort to run away with this victory, and that they very well much did deserve it, because it felt like something had clicked, and now all the utils started working. Everything started meshing well. The GravNet in the right spots and positions, because they were reading more into the situation and into the iterations that GLRS was putting in. Instead of just placing things where they thought it might work, it felt like they actually had some sort of momentum going.
Yeah, and All Knights operated again with so little information. So instead of kind of going in blind, although, you know, fragging that way has worked out for them in some rounds, they would actually draw GLRS towards them. Like the annihilation, you're pulling someone from the enemy team towards you, funneling them into showers, forcing these isolated duels in a very narrow hallway. They were good at drawing the defense towards them, and in a spot where they didn't really need information, they just needed the opponent to come to them. And All Knights knew mechanically they were the better team, and that's once, you know, they got ramped up, there's no stopping them.
Oh man, they're a team that, yeah, that momentum that they're able to carry, they're dangerous, that is for sure. If All Knights start getting going, they're one to beat. So seeing them continue on to the upper bracket, that is going to be fun for sure. We'll have an opportunity to speak to them as well. We'll take a short break after that interview on location.
I'm here with Cebando. The first question that I want to ask you is, how are you feeling right now and what's going through your head?
We're feeling great, to be honest. The map that we just won was just impossible for us at some moment, but we managed to do it, so we are very happy.
So you guys came back in both maps. You just continued to win round by round. What was going through your mind when you guys started winning?
I think we know that we have rough starts at the start of some matches, so we just have to adjust our play, play together as a team. So we knew we could bring it back.
Great, Cebando. So your next match is against 2G. You guys already played them. It was a really, really close match, but you guys ended up winning. How are you preparing for this match, and what do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to be a very close match. They are a great team, so we'll try to do our best and beat them again.
Last question for you is that in case that you guys go to the finals, who would you like to confront in the finals?
That's a hard one. I'll say 2Game. I'd like to play 2Game in the finals because we are very close to them. We like them a lot. So yeah, get to the finals 2Game.
Thank you very much, Cebando. Guys, it's all for us today, but tomorrow we have more games, so thank you very much.
Oh, there she is. I was like, I know we're close to being done for the day, but not quite. You're stuck with us for a couple of minutes yet, Gophers, but still, that victory, 2-0 AK. Sabano talking in the interview like, yeah, like that kind of seemed impossible at some points. Jen, it looked impossible at some point, but finding the key to victory, everyone working together, the Dante factor, and they're moving along in this upper bracket.
Yeah, I think that was a key point that Sabando said, playing together. There's some moments where Urango was able to almost pull off 1v3 clutches because of kind of the way they would All Knights would stagger into engagements. They really got to swing together, and those little fixes on timings, and it'll be good. But this bracket is going to be intense. We got M80 versus GLRS. This is a rematch of round 4. That went to game 3, going M80's way, and then we got 2G and All Knights in the upper final, a rematch of round 4 group stage, where another extremely close game 3 deciding match going the way of All Knights. So tomorrow is going to be a doozy.
I think too, like GLRS, I mean, M80 getting knocked down this early is nothing I think anybody expected this early on. And already we're starting off with such a banger of a season with an Ascension, like already coming in. Like, this Ascension is exciting. It shows you that you don't really know what's going to happen. Did I know a reversal was going to happen on AK here coming 2-0? No, absolutely not. Did I know M80 was going to get knocked down? No, absolutely not. But anything can happen. And now M80, the team that we thought was going to win this whole thing is possibly actually going to lose.
That's all going to be for tomorrow. The lower bracket is going to be a tough and heartbreaking journey. Both teams so deserving, but only one will be able to move on. And of course, in our upper bracket, one team tomorrow will be able to find themselves in that grand finals. This Ascension, the groups, and already the first day of playoffs has been so full of twists and turns. Anything can happen, as we've already seen M80 in this lower bracket, so you don't want to miss a single moment of it. Make sure to come back tomorrow for that lower bracket and our upper finals. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you then.
One